in those between around Cotton Cafe within the Abuja local just so it takes time. That's the explanation.
But they said about 200 trucks will be coming in from the Calabar Benue axis through the Nasarawa state into Abuja. What happens to that?
Abulu, I saw a number of them. Indeed, I saw a number of them. But I can tell you that there are also failed portions
of the road,
and they were stuck.
In gridlock.
In gridlock.
Where exactly?
Just a few kilometers on the outskirts of Makurdi, on your way to Boko, between Boko and Makurdi. It was stuck. I can tell you, some persons slept there around 2 a.m. Some people slept there.
So is it
for 2 days?
People diverted to the road to escape the other route? Is it?
If the 200 trucks saying they were coming from Calabar, that's the route they take. That's the route
so
they
but you also know that some of these trucks have been stranded in the Edo State, within Edo State,
where the portions of
where the state government say that they should not ply the state road, they should go and fly the federal road portion, which are bad. And the Fashola, Minister of Works, was on a media briefing yesterday with Minister of Information, and he said a lot of things that progress had been done.
Yeah, how many kilometers of roads did he mention have been completed by this administration?
I think the kilometers are known only to Mr. Fashola, because Nigerians have not seen evidence of road done.
Some of us have.
Nigerians have not seen evidence. If you look at, I am from Edo State.
I'm
from Edo State. The federal road, Amechi to Okene from Edo State is worse off. Since we were happy that the administration wanted to expand the road, we saw evidence of in the first tenure, evidence of road expansion and whatever. But if you go there today, we have a video that is trending. Persons have been there stuck for 1 week, Amechi. It's not even the flooding now. Before the flooding, persons have been stuck. Now the flooding now came to local justice and worsened the situation. So
there are not just bad but dangerous portions of federal roads across the country. But perhaps that's what Abul is referring to. It doesn't remove the fact that some of them have been worked on, but a greater majority would they say are still dilapidated.
It's a huge challenge, and I think something needs to be done, especially as we walk towards the Yuletide. I recall that in previous administrations will tell you they are fixing or patching up some of the places for people to drive during Christmas. I think they need to do that. Abulu, I can tell you that so even if we drive up to Kefi, if it's right in front of Nasarawa State University, that road has been dualized and opened up, and the most part of
they're still working on that Kefi,
Akwanga, Lafia, Makurdi. Most part
up
of it
to Night Mile. They say they even made budget provisions in the budget for it.
But look at the road from Night Mile.
I've seen it up to Makurdi.
Through Otukpo.
I've seen it up to
that
Makurdi.
Road is only one lane that has been done. I applied that road 2 years ago. It's only one. The other one has been abandoned.
The challenge is actually huge.
Abandoned.
The challenge is actually huge. If Buhari will tell you that the previous administration made so much money from sale of oil and they didn't invest in infrastructure, perhaps that's what he's referring to. But he has done what he thinks he can do, and that's why he's saying, look, my administration has met the yearnings of the people, maybe perhaps from his own assessment.
Talk your own, I don't talk my own. That's what the president
have their own assessment.
So,
to make.
And that's why we're giving you opportunity to also talk your own. I will receive letters supporting or insisting that it wasn't a right statement. But that's a democracy. You have the right to your opinion. Well, the administration said yesterday through the Minister of Works and Housing that Second Niger Bridge is completed. They are waiting the approach road from Asaba, and also spoke on the Abuja. Of course, the Second Niger Bridge was constructed with about 250 billion. Then the Abuja Kaduna Kano Road, almost 800 billion. He says the problem with that road is more of Abuja to Kaduna, that Kano to Kaduna to Kano has seen a tremendous work. Then Lagos Ibadan Road Expressway almost completed. That's about 300 billion or so. If you put all these amounts together, you look at 800 billion, 250.
That's about 1.3 billion.
Yes, or thereabout. 1.3 trillion. Now, where are the other roads? Let's add. We'll clap for you to building the road, but we'll look at the efficiency, the cost effectiveness. Where are the other roads you have built? What are the costs? If you add all of them together, it's unlikely they will reach 2 trillion. Unlikely. Now, the federal government, during the Buhari administration period of 7 years plus, has borrowed severally. From central bank alone, the government has borrowed 20 trillion. 20 trillion. Now, if you remove 2 trillion from it, where is the 18 trillion? What did they do with the 18 trillion? Now, the federal government has also borrowed 42 trillion from other sources, local and international. So, where did you put this 42 trillion into? Now, the CBN 20 trillion, which is illegal because the act establishing the CBN says the CBN can borrow to a government, and that borrowing must not exceed 5% of the GDP of last year. The 20 trillion far outweigh Nigeria's GDP. In fact, it was up to 25%. So it violates the CBN Act. Now, that same act also says that before you borrow for the next year, the one you borrowed this year, you must have paid back. Government has not paid back. So what they have done, what the Minister of Finance told us yesterday, is that they will securitize that 20 trillion old CBN. They will spread it over a 40-year period. So for the next 40 years, I don't know how many of us that will be around then. Our children will continue to pay the debt incurred by.
That is the only 20. That's for only 20 trillion.
For CBN
not the 42 trillion
alone. For CBN, what about the 42 trillion and more? The 12 trillion, about 9 trillion that will be borrowed to fund the 2023 budget. Where will that leave us? It means after our children, if they are unable to pay back that loan, it will fall on our grandchildren. But the administration that incurred that loan would have long left office.
Amechi, if you have a student loan out elsewhere, where students will graduate, even Obama completed paying his student loan when he became president. If you have such things, people will not raise eyebrow. Amechi, we are sorry to use the word. Are we doomed? Because we are just living on a borrowed lifestyle. You know, borrow pose. When you see in this in local parlance, say you borrow pose.
You borrow and use it to pose.
Use it to pose.
All
this money all this money were borrowed for consumption. There was no production. That is why some presidential candidates are calling for production. Amechi, how will you collect money? If you go to the bank, if you have a business proposal, they will ask you for your collateral before they give you that loan because they know you are going to do production.
But in this for the CBN, we call it borrowing from CBN. That's ways and means. That's the technical word for it. For you to understand it, if government wants to borrow from CBN, they will write do the necessary paperwork through the Ministry of Finance and order and send to CBN. And CBN will print money. So that was why your governor, Obaseki, said they were printing money to share in federation account. And that is the fact. When you want to borrow from CBN, if you want to borrow, like they have borrowed 20 trillion over a time, CBN will just ask meeting company to print and they will give to government to spend.
And not even local meeting company. It's foreign. They are printing abroad.
We have a challenge on our hands, and I think we need to address it as a country and as a nation. What we are saying today, if it's not addressed, some of us, I'm afraid, I keep saying it will continue to be a vicious circle that we'll go through. One thing you can't take away is the fact that previous administration did not invest or subsequent, let me not say previous administrations over time.
Successive administrations
have not invested in infrastructure.
Yes, the way
they should have, especially when we're making huge money, from sale of oil and all. They did not do that, and because of that, we have deficit across all the sectors. As it were. So it's such that whatever any administration will be doing now or what those in the future will do, many Nigerians may not even appreciate or see it because of the gap that needs, to be filled. The finance minister also yesterday said for the 2022 budget, they've not been able to meet about 34% of the revenue target, as it were. What am I saying? I just spoke recently with the Angolan ambassador to Nigeria. What did he tell me? He said, look, their country has a vision, has a development plan, so that in every 4 years, it is a must, the administration must complete a dam, a hydroelectric, a multi-purpose dam for irrigation, power, and all of that.
Perhaps that is contained in a plan. They have a plan.
They have a plan. That is what some of us have been talking and pushing and advocating.
Did you hear the comment of the Minister of Water Resources?
And it must be in all inclusive, so that all the parties, the civil society, everybody should be so that they will buy into it. So that as a person, I'm not even advocating that the government should lead this charge. The private sector, civil society groups involved in development, they should lead this charge so that it becomes everybody makes input and everybody buys into it. So that any government, any political party that eventually takes over power, knows that we have a development plan, that in 4 years we are supposed to do this, supposed to fix this road, and all of that. We can't take it away the fact that Jonathan, for instance, was working on the Kano, Maiduguri, how we do.
Obasanjo started.
So these are the issues.
But you can't take it away, TV, that we don't have plan. Obasanjo came with Vision 2010. It was Jonathan that came and
that was
Abacha, Vision 2010. Then it was now
Obasanjo
Vision 2020.
started Vision 2020.
That's why I said it should be all inclusive, because
and now
at that time
Vision 2050.
That the Africa agenda is Vision. ECOWAS is Vision 2065.
No, there
is Agenda 2050. There's Agenda 2050 that they are talking about. That's why I say it should be all inclusive, because if it's an APC administration that brings it up, then if another government comes in, they will put it aside, just like.
Don't call it the APC administration. Call it the Buhari administration. That's what we were saying yesterday.
Just like
under APC.
Yeah, just like the PDP came up with Vision 2020, and when the APC took over in 2015, they never spoke about it, they never talked about it, because they were not a part of it. So, but if there is a document that everybody is a part of, and
this government is continuing.
Yes, everybody will have to key. The only thing you are coming in with is the roadmap on how to meet that development plan.
On paper, those beautiful plans looks magnificent, but if you interrogate it further, which I have done in various research I've done, they were not really development driven, because they were not thinking about how to improve the Nigerian citizen. They were, if you take all our plans, development plans, short-term, mid-term, long-term, what you see are programs, projects and policies. Even less of policies, more of programs and projects. Because it's only when you do a project that there will be transaction, there will be contract award. So it's project centric. I call it project centric. Program centric. Program in the sense that they want to share money. Our administration has been sharing money. Starting from Obasanjo to Jonathan, what do you call it? The one, the finance minister and coordinating minister of the coordinating minister of the economy. Shopee, the Buhari administration, NSIP, you win. It's all about sharing money. Now, when you share money, you will discover that the bulk of the people, this money end up elsewhere. That's the problem. The moment we change our development plans to a plan that will target the person, then we'll begin to see progress.
This thing also has to, it shouldn't necessarily be at the center, the states.
Yes.
I know that there's supposed to be state planning commission that are constitutional. If you go to some of these offices, the one in Plateau State was taken over by cobwebs. So this is the challenge, right from the local government, the state, and all of, so that everybody is involved. Because the civil servants who sit in Abuja here, like the Minister of Water Resources, and that sits and will tell you the flooding in Nigeria is
1% of land go down. It's only 1%.
No, you understand. You understand when he was telling you the scenario in Jigawa. Don't forget, in Jigawa he was talking about deforestation. So in Jigawa the rainfall and deforestation what they call. So he's applying it to the entire country. But beyond that, right from the local governments, from the city, these are the people who will tell you where they need their primary health centers. These are the people who will tell you, and even if you are getting this the human capital development and investment in people, these are the people where they know where the poor people are. They know the poverty in which family before you even talk about community and all. So this will be
so we need a development plan that will target the people. How do we educate the person, a citizen? How do we make sure the citizen gets good health, because you need to be healthy to become productive? How do we make sure that the citizen is productively engaged? That's the job. Our programs and plans are not targeting this. Then you look at build trunk A road, you do make 10 lane Abuja to Kano. What's the essence when I can't even travel because of insecurity? I can't move there because I may be kidnapped.
Most developed countries.
So these are issues we have to address if we really want to. And if you do it on the people, there won't be opportunity for government officials, public officials to help themselves with the money. If you're creating a policy where you don't distribute money, but if you do this comes to you, it becomes obvious. But when they create a lot of discretion, this person will determine. And once you leave discretion unchecked, no part of the world that you give a discretion that is not oversighted multiple times, not even just once. But here you have a governor, award land. Your governor can give you 10 hectares of land in Benue State, and nobody can counter him to say, what basis? What basis did you do this? Because he likes Teve. He goes to sleep. He dreams that Teve was with him in heaven, and the next day he gives you 20 hectares. We have a society that is built on that. The minister has so much discretion. Every public official, so much discretion that citizens, even when we have opportunity to engage and interrogate, we shy away from doing that.
We said something 2 days ago that developed countries, if you go there, you see the road channels in London, in Geneva, elsewhere, and because they'll be able to plan. The UN brings out development plan to assist developing countries like Nigeria. That is why you have the Millennium Development Goal that stopped, it ended in 2015. Now you have the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, that will end in 2035. How much of this 2030? How much of this have we incorporated into our local policies to ensure that
we are far away from meeting those goals?
Now look at the what are we implementing now? SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, is a successor to MDGs,
yes.
And these are what the United Nations outlined to help countries around the world,
developing countries,
develop.
Because
now,
they are developed.
In my recent book, I noted is there the politics of state and politics of development. If you check MDGs and SDGs, 90% of them are either related to education or health. 90% of them, access to health, access to education. That is a plan that is human oriented. Then just oppose with our own plan. They will tell you airport. They will tell you conference center. They'll tell you that
new government house.
We are not de-emphasizing the importance of this fiscal infrastructure, but there are two infrastructure. There's fiscal infrastructure. There's the soft infrastructure. The soft, you can't do fiscal infrastructure if you have not dealt with soft infrastructure. The soft infrastructure is education, health, create jobs before you talk about road, bridges, and what have you. So if you build the bridge and I don't have a car, and what does it mean? So that's just food for thought. Go and study those development plans and study our own and see that we are going backwards. We are driving back to where we don't know, and we think we are moving forward. Let's take a break. When we come back, your mails, answers.